Wrestling Podcast, Georgia Indy Talk. And Myron, well, how the hell are you, buddy?
I'm great. I'm great. I missed a lot of shows due to illness and others in work, but I'm going to get catch up on some shows. Hopefully, get some shows soon. I watched Shindig on YouTube and loved every second of it. I cannot give Adam Vance enough credit for what he's done with his production team and all the people helping making that into a wonderful program to watch.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. And that's going to be kind of the show, what we talk about first when we jump into Southern Fried. But before we get started, I teased over on the main show an announcement. So, look, the Georgia Indy Talk. Obviously, look, I had this conversation with a couple guys this past weekend about it, and kind of explain, fortunately for us, blah blah blah, like our audience has kind of expanded out. So, it's now I looked this week, Georgia was number 10 as far as viewership and downloads and stuff. So we were going to expand out and try to do some new things. So what I decided to do is we're going to do the Georgia Indy Talk bi-weekly. So every 2 weeks, we'll do a Georgia Indy Talk session. It'll kind of, we'll cover the shows that happened in those couple weeks and everything that happened, kind of share our thoughts on it or whatever. And that's kind of like what we're going to do this week. We're going to talk about everything that has happened this past weekend and the week prior to that as well. But the new format is essentially what I want to do is we're going to do watch-alongs from indie matches. So we can kind of highlight and focus on some of the guys that are out there, so a lot of people can see these guys work. And it's going to be, look, will there be a lot of Georgia? Absolutely, because guess what, guys? We know a lot of those guys. We can get their matches. A lot of it's easier to get. However, we are going to expand out and have matches from all over the country and as well. So, and a couple things are going to happen. So, in an ideal world, one of the two of us will do the watch along with one of the talents in the match. Mm-hmm. And so we can it's not like an interview. We're going to do a watch along, have a conversation, that kind of stuff. By the way, if you want to send us one of those matches, you want to send me a link to YouTube or whatever, we appreciate that. But there are going to be guidelines. One, I want good crowds because it makes you look better. Two, commentary, just so if we want to, slide that in as well. And then, of course, look, the entrance music is what it is, but we just want it to look really good. So it's a highlight reel for a reason. And so we want you, the talents, to look good. So keep that in mind. So essentially what will happen is it'll be the Georgia Indy Talk. Though, one week, the next week it'll be a match. And look, if we don't have one of the talents, it might be me and you doing the watch along. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And so we can still point out things we know, things we can promote the guys and that kind of stuff. But then, look, we are still going to continue the Indie Showcase where we're picking some matches and we just put the matches on our YouTube as well. So we just want to try to help get more names out there. That's kind of the goal of the Indie, section anyway. So that's kind of what we're shooting for, on the show. So, but without further ado, let's jump into what you talked about on YouTube. You watched the Southern Fried Show from Shindig. By the way,
the biggest show of the year.
Check it out. It is on. Look, it is on their channel. Go to Southern Fried Championship Wrestling. Go to their channel on YouTube. Check out the entire show. Highly recommend it. My full take for the highlight of the show has to be Todd Sexton's farewell match versus Nick Halen. Agree or disagree?
Oh God, yeah. It was so perfect. Okay. Storytelling and wrestling woven together so tightly. The performance was almost theatrical, that they made the thing work so good. I knew where it was. It was a comeback story. It was a family story. It was so much going on. They pulled it off real well in a wrestling match. And I could not have been happier with it. The video was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Todd.
Yeah. It was an emotional match. Some great stuff. Like you said, the storytelling was done so well over such a long period of time. Built to this moment, kudos, like I said, both guys in that ring put on like a spectacular match. I cannot tell you. Let me put it this way. It's so good. I have a gut feeling you're going to see this match on our thing at some point. That's all I'm
Yeah,
going
that's
to
going to be one of our review matches. I
Yeah.
can't wait to do that.
Kudos to Todd. What a hell of a way to go out. Like I said, how apropos that him and Kelly reunite in his last match on the way out. Like lots of nice, tugs to the heartstrings in the match.
Macho Randy. Sorry, Macho Man and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Type,
Good shit. It really was. I mean, you can't put it over enough.
Yeah.
And it was everything, to get there. Second favorite moment of the card for me was one Mr. Bill Behrens coming out full New Jack mode with the grocery cart full of weapons and you got the guitar and everything. Look, when
that was awesome.
Yeah, that was just gold. It was money. I could not tell you how hard we were laughing just sitting there and laughing in a good way, mind you. I mean, just on and on. It was just so much to it. To me, I tell people all the time, like I just giving you two really good reasons why you need to go to Southern Fried Championships Wrestling YouTube channel and check that out. So,
and go to the Southern Fried Wrestling. Man, they've got a show that for free coming up.
Yeah, that's not too far from my house. Like, it's up in Jefferson. Yeah.
Yeah. Not far from where I'm going to be at work that day, unfortunately, though. But get out there and see it. Check out a free show.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool as hell, man.
Billy Buck successfully defended his title. However, completely CT Keys has laid the groundwork for it. Looks like he's ready to make a run and prove like it's his time on the top of Southern Fried Championship Wrestling.
With Jagged Edge as manager, how can he fail?
That's the missing piece. You got it.
It's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Exotic Youth. Wow. Palmetto Express is so popular there. To bring in a tag team that's such a heel tag team that gets so much heat, put them with insane, man. It's nuclear. Those guys are hated.
It was fire heat, man. That crowd hated them. It was so, like, there was so much heat in that building that I sat there and I asked, I was sitting with Grandpa next to me, and I said, how crazy would this place go if Exotic Youth wins? Like, if they beat these kids and take those championships, how bad would this crowd hate them?
If Cena wins, we riot.
Dude, it might be worse. I mean, it was, like I said, those guys, they will grow on you like mold and fungus. Like, they are so good at what they do, Exotic Youth. I mean, they
get under everybody's skin.
And they do it because it's like, you're like one of those, like, they just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, they literally go out there and will, like, they will do, they just don't, they want to win and they don't really care if the people hate them or love them. Right. Mm-hmm. And usually that leads you to believe that's why everybody hates them. I mean, they just can't. Mm-hmm. And it's spectacular. That's all I can say. It's a sight to see. If you see Exotic Youth on a card, you just have to see those heat magnets. Absolutely. Yeah. Naja defeated Bobby Moore. He continued on his run as the Classic Championship. Kind of surprised me a little bit. I honestly thought, I mean, think about this. Like, you're approved of, I mean, they essentially went 0 for 3. Bobby Moore loses, Adrian Hawkins loses, and Nick Halen loses. They 0 for 3 on Shindig. Not a good night for them. So we'll have to see what's ahead of those guys in the future. Judas and Xavier Reyes, surprisingly, kudos to the kid. He took the loss. Judas beat him and proved he's still the man there in Southern Fried. Mm-hmm. But the kid brought a fight. And it
was a good casket match. And it's hard to do a super gimmicky match like that well. Yeah. And it was done really well.
100% agree. So again, if you like, how many times do I have to say, if you have not seen Shindig, check it out. Southern Fried Championship Wrestling on their YouTube channel. That was last weekend. So then we're going to jump to this weekend. And of course, the highlight I was at this Friday, of course, was Southern Honor. Okay, first of all, the cloud of like, well, Gary shut it down, and with Brooklyn taking the booking duties away and the match from the month prior, so many pieces of this puzzle. Let's put that on the back burner. Like we'll come back to that at the end as far as like the future of Southern Honor. Zach the Gear Guy versus Cruel was every bit as good as it didn't deserve to be. That's the crazy thing. You never thought it would have been that good. It was, and it was everything you wanted, even though you didn't know you wanted it. That's the crazy thing. It honestly, so here's the problem. When talking about this show, it's funny. Somebody said, when you guys are on your show, do you kind of do you stay with the storyline? Do you go outside? It's hard on the show not to do both. That match could have been a total disaster. It just could have been, and I'll leave it alone at that.
There are a lot of people worried about that.
But it was not. From a fan reaction, the fans were on their feet. The fans were cheering for Zach. The fans, were fully behind him. Like, he was getting every bit of a babyface reaction that you want from your baby faces, and it's Zach the Gear Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Mads Cruel Kruger, the heathen, the monster that he is, goes in there. Now listen, was there a lot of smoke and mirrors? You're going to start seeing the weaving here. 100%. And Knight getting involved, and fire extinguishers and tables and chairs and on, everything that's involved. But I will say this now, from sliding into the performer part of it, this could easily be one of, Cruel's, whatever you want to call him, his crowning achievements as far as and kudos to David Weekley. By the way, shout out and congratulations to him for getting a shot up at NWA.
Excellent job.
Oh, 100%.
Very proud of him.
Yeah. Hard work does pay off, folks. Just keep that in mind. But to get through this match and it to be as good as it was, kudos to all parties involved. And I mean that every party involved deserves, and they, by the way, crazy match, and they led the show with it. Like, this is how we opened.
How dangerous was that?
Huh?
Oof. Well, that's your start.
Yeah.
That could have stopped the whole show down if something had gone bad wrong.
Could have been. But here's the thing. If it stinks out the house on the open, it can only get better the rest of the night, right? That's the way you look at it. But look, Brooklyn's a hell of a book. She's a hell of a booker.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. That was a hell of a card from top to bottom. Rob Killjoy and Narcissism had a Rumblejack qualifying match. And listen, it was this. We referenced this on the main show, how we talked about wrestling, like just in ring, go at it in the ring. Some people, like to say that there's another place, that's nearby that's the best. This match here could have happened anywhere and gotten that sports entertainment based fan base that they have. By the end of this match, we're cheering both of those guys for what they put on in that ring.
Wow.
It was that good of a match, in my opinion. So, could be wrong. Now, Cyrus and Judas, on the other hand, it was not a 5-star classic. It was two studs doing big man shit, just brawling and fighting. Just everything. Like, at one point, the threat of going through the announcer's table, literally, I thought, Brandon and Gerard were going to just lose their shit because they're like, oh my, I literally thought there was an opportunity both guys were going to go through. But, of course, there was a metal spike that Judas pulled from under the ring, stabbed Cyrus right in the eye. But, so we'll have to see, where this storyline's going. That's kind of the obstacle that we face. Joe and Dylan, dude, I have not seen. That was some stiff stuff. It was strong. It got everything that we kind of wanted. that it led into Owen getting involved, like he had been in earlier in the night, basically winning his job back. By, like I said, a lot of moving parts. I think there's a lot of future, which I'm going to discuss here in a second. But I want to, before we get to that, I want to talk about Gunner and Tank. Listen, it was special. This match was special. And look, how many times have we said, Myron, I'm not a deathmatch guy, and I don't mean that as a knock.
I did not think you would like this match at all.
Yeah. It's not a knock on deathmatch wrestling. I just tell people all the time. It's like, hey, you like rock music, country music, or I prefer this type of music, whatever. That's where I fall on deathmatch. Like, I get it. I see why people like it. That's cool. And there are scenarios where I think, oh, that was good, and here's one of them. It's just not generally. It's not what I listen to or what I watch. But I think the story being built to get to that point made it make sense for me. Like, I embraced it because of the story to get there. It wasn't just, hey, we're going to take two guys, throw them in a death match. They're going to have a death match. We're done. That's the part that usually loses me. Right?
Well, that sounds like it's a payoff match, and that makes sense to me. Like, if it was in the Omni, in a steel cage, when you build to a match and the match matters, it takes an extreme to pay it off. It takes something huge to make it right, and I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
So all of things that at Southern Honor, all of the show that it was, and it was a very good show, by the way. And if you don't believe me, ask anybody there; they'll tell you how good it was. But now we face this overall arc that encompasses Southern Honor, with Contra, which is Joe Black, Mads Cruel Kruger, Brooklyn Creed, kind of trying to dismantle Southern Honor Wrestling from the inside and take over. Like, we have to now, I guess, head into this part of it. A lot of the chapters look like they're on. More chapters look like they're heading in, progressing. Look, Gary picked, I think now that Gunner's clearly done with Tank, and the Reverend, then I think now at this point you have to assume Gary handpicked him to bring him in to win championships. Mm-hmm. Gunner is, Gary's that's Gary's choice would be, you would think, would be Gunner.
Yeah.
Owen has clearly, we've watched him grow and become the champion and become one of the absolute hottest, fan favorite faces of that company. Clearly he has to be involved at this. You have Dylan who's involved, obviously, it's, with him being the booker, former booker, and things like that. It's got to be involved. I just get a bad vibe that Brooklyn's got something else up her sleeve. Like, when that show ended, there was just a vibe that screamed off, she's not done, and we've got to see what Gary's response to, so it's going to be a back and forth, I think, and hopefully like I said, we can see where this all goes in the long term. That's just my take. The other surprise of the night, by the way, and it's two surprises built into one. Technical Excellence was finally getting, a rematch. Chip's not injured anymore. He comes back. They're challenging for they're challenging All-Star Special for the Southern Honor titles. And we'll talk about the post-match in a second. All-Star retains, and they are still your Southern Honor champions, your tag team champions. There's things in this match where you're like, it's so good to see. Like, Huck go up the turnbuckle, walk the ropes, and I'm like, it's funny. I saw them after the show, and I was like, it's funny that you guys, a lot of people want to, it's the show, it's the entertainment factor. But over the last two shows, you're trying to show flashes of people of like, hey guys, we can work in the ring too, that's what you get the vibe of. And then they're showing we got your attention, right? We got your attention. Mm-hmm. Now watch. That's what I think All Star is. That's what I took from their match at Southern Honor. So.
Okay.
Well, now let's skip all the way to Viral as well. They had a good show. It's cool. Speaking of All Star, they were there as well, by the way. Did you see the video I shared, like Hanson and the video the little promo video they did outside?
He sent me one I have to watch. I haven't had a chance yet.
Yeah. Here's the thing: promotion should be watching because you should be booking them for the hype videos they'll do for you and like the promotion they'll give you.
Mm-hmm.
They can go in the ring. They're entertaining your crowd. Like this is why like, and it's not, by the way, they're not the only, but it's like this is what I'm specifically pointing to them. There's tons of guys out there that do this. We've had this in the conversation in the past, right? We've talked about Skrilla is like king of it, putting out promo videos and putting stuff out there. The varsity, the program. I
wish Kenny Beckner didn't do so much of it.
Just look past it.
Or over it.
Yeah, something like that. Look, it's sorry. Back to viral. Look, Owen Knight looks like he's doing some stuff there. Here's the thing, where we always talk about, for years it was like, hey, don't sleep on Owen Knight. He's working his way up down there as well. He's got a key spot in Southern Honor. I think he's one of the big players in Georgia right now. So keep an eye definitely on Owen Knight. But it looks like as we head into fall out viral, it looks, and it's not official. They haven't even announced anything. Sean Legacy, John Davis looks like maybe where we're heading.
Wow.
All I tell people right now is that dude, John Davis, is a bad man. I don't care who you are and how talented you are. I don't know that that's the guy you want to be facing right now, especially if you're putting gold on the line.
Yeah.
That's just my take. Last but not least, I also want to address Action Wrestling. They continue to roll and do what they do. And look, here's my take, because somebody said, why should you go to Action? Because honestly, at this point, I tell people, it looks like it's one of the rare places you get to see the IWTV World Champion AC Mack. So, and when, if you're somebody who's like, we've discussed it earlier in the show, we just said this, if you're an in-ring action fan, no pun intended there, this is your promotion. Like this is like, that's, if you're more of a, like I said, it's indie wrestling, right? There, it's, now I'm not saying they don't have stories, but because they do, but it's like, but mostly it's like, look, some of the internet's independent internet's fan, like this is where you're going to go see a lot of the guys that you see for that in-ring wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So follow them, check them out. Like all the promotions we talk about, Southern Fried, Southern Honor, Viral, Action. Look them up on Facebook, look them up on Twitter, give them a follow so you don't miss their shows. They post.
It's so easy to follow wrestling now.
Yeah,
it's so easy to follow indie wrestling. Just go on social media.
Shouldn't be that hard. Follow the promotions that you like. Check them out. See if they've got a YouTube channel. If they're putting out, I know a lot of these guys. Like a lot of them are on streaming services, IWTV specifically. Which is where a lot of them are. But like I said, but Southern Fried, damn, they're on YouTube. Just go watch them. That way, if you want to see something different, there's your alternative. Go check them out. Because by the way, half the time I always tell you, you'll be stunned at who you will see at some of these shows.
Yeah.
When they work, there's lots of guys there that you're going to see guys from AEW, you're going to see MLW, you're going to see NWA, you're going to see off and on. You're going to see them, so that's why you should be following them. But that's my take. And look, I openly telling everybody, look, this coming up weekend's a bad weekend for me in wrestling. Look, it's Father's Day, coming up. I mean, kids are coming over this weekend, and this, that. We have 2 kids' birthdays within 3 days. So, we're busy. Literally 3. And hell, what day is Father's Day? Do you want the
Sunday.
date? What's the date? Is that the 19th? Hell, I don't even
19th.
know. So, yeah. So
Juneteenth is the
20th.
Federal holiday now.
Yeah. So, in 4 days, I have 2 birthdays and Father's Day. 3 of the 4 days literally have like a birthday or so. Anyway, so.
I've got all kind of neat stuff planned.
But
it's not going to be wrestling.
Yeah, unfortunately, there won't be a wrestling show in my books this weekend because I'm just so booked out. But that doesn't mean because we're not there, you can't be there. You should be there. If you can go to a wrestling show this weekend, I know it's because of Georgia Indy Talk, but people watch the show outside of Georgia, believe it or not. So if you're in Colorado, go see Rocky Mountain Pro, right? I mean, if you're in, Yeah, I mean, if you're in Chicago, find the hell where David Ali's wrestling. Go watch him.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he's down here. I think he's at Mucho Lucha. So he'll be back for Mucho Lucha.
Oh yeah.
So
Shit.
again,
that's next weekend.
Is it not this weekend? Not Father's Day? Oh, it's the next. Okay, so even better. So I might be able to go see him. But you see what I'm saying? Like, find your there's somewhere, whether you're in California, Texas, Chicago, New York, East Coast, West Coast, South. It doesn't matter. Find a promotion next to you.
Yep.
And go check them out. I mean, they're there. So that's just my take. But what do you know? Anyway, so I enjoy it. You enjoy it. That's what we're here for. So hopefully you guys will find a show near you and you'll go out and enjoy it. Anything else, man, before we get out of here on the Georgia?
No, I think, man, you were on fire today.
Sorry about that, man. I know like I said, seeing all of those, and we love wrestling, man. But hopefully there's more to come, and hopefully you guys like the format change. And there's going to be some, like I said, out-of-state promotions that we'll start covering as well. That's kind of the next phase of the Indy Talk show. So just so you keep it up, again, make sure so you don't miss this kind of stuff. You go over to YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on, all that good stuff. Because, by the way, this is the only place you find it. This show does not go out on a podcast platform. We only do this for our YouTube channel. So make sure that you're checking that out. And by the way, if you were a member, you'd get it early. So
now that's a deal.
That's a deal. I agree. And a deal's a deal. So, well, man, what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing, you've got nothing. What time is it?
It's time to tap out.